Welcome, Nicole.
Hi, Michael. Thanks for having me.
So I will leave things in your capable hands, and I will be back shortly.
Perfect. Thanks, Michael. And also from my side, thanks all for joining us here today. SoftSummit is also my favorite event of the year. I've been with the company here for 12 years. SoftSummit has been around much longer than that, but we've always kept this as our yearly software monetization event. And I think it's super, super important to talk about these things. And this year might be one of the years where it's most important to talk about software monetization. So let me just jump right in. And how could you kick off any conference without talking about AI? That's impossible. So I'll talk about AI as well. I'll talk about AI not because it's a hot new trend, but it is transforming software monetization. It's transforming software monetization for everyone out there. If you follow the stock market and what's going on in the industry, we see real impact, right? We see that companies that are having a named user model are seeing some pressure, right? We see companies spending a lot on AI, overspending. We see margin pressures. We see real things going on in the industry that we all hear about a lot, which is all an AI transformation. And an AI transformation also impacts how we are all going to monetize software. So I want to talk a little bit about that today, and then I'm going to give you a quick overview on what you can expect from Revenera. And I've because of all the great speakers that we have, I have 10 minutes to do all of this. So I hope I can keep it interesting for that short amount of time. So why is AI transforming software monetization? That is something that I think we all know, right? It is transforming how people interact with software. So we will have agents interacting with software instead of human beings. We have a lot more ask for data and for headless access to software using MCP servers, using APIs instead of a traditional graphical user interface. All of that is changing how people interact. Potentially, it's changing and impacting your monetization model that you have today. And then also AI is costing every software company a lot of money. And we all as software companies, and I say we because Revenera is a software company just like everybody else here in this room, we all have to also look at the balance between what are we spending on cloud, on AI, and then what are we making our money with, right? And that's putting some monetization models under pressure. I mentioned the named user model. It also opens a lot of new opportunities. So one slide that some of you have already seen is we always do our monetization monitor. That's our research that we do yearly. If you're not already getting it, then get in touch with Michael and make sure that we get you on the distribution list for it, because it's really good research on what's happening in the industry from a monetization perspective. And I don't want to throw too many numbers at you, but there's two things here that are really impactful. It's the first time that I can remember, and probably that many of you can remember, that for AI, subscription is actually going down. This slide shows you how companies are monetizing their software today and what they're looking to do in the future. And you see subscription going down. It's not something that has happened over the last decade. It always went up. And then what you see going up is a mix out of subscription and usage based, and that is kind of that overall trend that we are going towards. There's a lot of talk about usage, but often it's a tiered subscription. It's a subscription with some usage components to take care of some of the AI pressures and opportunities that are available to everyone in the market who's working in technology. So we are seeing already some shift here. And when I look at my daily conversations with many of you and with software vendors around the planet, this is really reflected there as well. So what does it mean for you? I think I just wanted to summarize, also give some advice. A lot of customers come to me and ask, hey, tell us what we should be doing. Tell us what you're seeing in the industry, what's some of the best practice advice. And in the limited time, I try to boil it down on one slide. I think we all have opportunities. You have opportunities to monetize software differently as we move from users to agent, from monetization models that are focused on access to monetization models that are focused on consumption or usage. But there's a couple of things, or more than a couple, to look at. And I differentiate between what needs to happen on the operational side and what needs to happen on the monetization strategy side. Operationally, when I look at many companies that I talk to and many C-suites that I talk to, there's a few things that are super important if you want to take opportunity and start monetizing AI, launch things quicker, innovate more, but then also monetize. It's important that there's a good understanding about what your cost structure is, but then also there's a value to the customer. It would be cool if always what's costly to us also had a really high value to the customer. That would make monetization very easy. It isn't always that easy. Sometimes you have cost in one area. That happens a lot with Gen AI use cases. They can cost a lot, but the customer will say, you know what? I'll use it for as long as it's part of your product, but I wouldn't pay you for that extra. My value from your software is elsewhere. So that is something that needs to be understood. And then it's important to have alignment between the product teams who often own pricing, packaging, and innovation, and then the commercial teams who need to bring that to the customer and make sure that they can also achieve their goals. Product often has thinking about the newest features is the most important one. The commercial teams have a different thinking around packaging, pricing, bundling, and how they would like to take products to market. It is important to get alignment there. And then it's important to also get alignment, and that is often where the hardest part of the work is between the C-level of your company that needs to buy in on a new monetization model and on your customers as well, right? Because any monetization model and any strategy only works if the C-suite is fine with it, but the customers are fine with it too. Otherwise, it can be the best model, but it won't work. You need a strong supporting tech stack. That is an area that Revenera talks a lot about because we are part of the tech stack to understand usage and to monetize usage and to enforce it. And then a strong understanding of usage patterns. So that all these things need to happen on the operational side to even be able to introduce new monetization strategies. And when you do introduce monetization strategies that are different from what you're doing today, then it's really important to look at, okay, where do you have new areas of customer value that could potentially lead to additional revenue? Based on what is being used, right? Especially when AI features are introduced. Very often there's a discrepancy between what people think is going to be used and what really is going to be used. So we always try to evangelize the model of counting before you bill, right? So when you think about a consumption-based model, don't just think about when you want to introduce that monetization change and how you're going to do billing. Start counting way before so that you can look at what's really happening, test your assumptions, and make sure that those assumptions are actually reflected in real life. I see many customers start with a pilot project to say, you know what, we know that we need to transform. We know that there's going to be changes to our model, but we'll start with a small product or with a new launch, and we'll see how that works, and we take it from there to reduce the risk and then also to reduce the disruption to your customers. And then when we talk about consumption and AI monetization, a lot of companies or a lot of people actually often jump to the conclusion that now I've got to go all usage-based. That is not true. You've got to do what is right for you, right? There is sometimes a way to go for just a tiered subscription. Good, better, best still works. It just doesn't work if it's all depending on a named user, but it can be a tiered subscription with certain amounts of usage that are allowed in each tier. It can be a model in which you have a base subscription and you sell usage packages on top. There's many ways to do this. The way isn't always to go all in on usage. It's never 1 or 0, right? There's always ways in between, and we're happy to discuss it with you. It's also another year of digital business models. When we look at many of you here joining us today are actually would call themselves in the industry of manufacturing, building physical goods and products. We see the same transformation here. There is even more opportunity now to move to data insights, to automation, and to new business models that are driven through some of the data and AI. So some of the data that those devices produce and to leverage AI to make even more out of that data, right? And that also leads to business models that move away from a rigid, SKU-based product sale to more an all-you-can-eat or a la carte model where end customers decide what they want to use between the product, the physical product, the software, and the data that's being produced. And then there's new software and data offerings that become way more compelling now. So that has been a trend that's not as fast as the AI trend. It's not in the news as much as the AI trend, but it's a trend that we've been seeing for the last 2 decades, and it continues. And it's also being accelerated by AI because it offers a lot of great opportunity for new business models to be introduced. How does Revenera help? Just the last slide here from me on this one. Many of you in the room know us, but we've got hundreds of people here, so I don't want to make assumptions. What Revenera really does is we do 2 things. We understand entitlements, and we help you understand entitlements and usage and compliance, which is basically a part of the overall back-end quote to cash chain to say, well, what is my customer entitled to? What are they actually using? Are they potentially using too much? That is simply the question that we answer. And then we help with, we instrument and work with your applications to solve 3 use cases, right? Licensing for on-premise software and for SaaS and cloud software and usage tracking. SaaS and AI monetization, which is a little bit overlapping with the first, but that is just a different way of doing it. But we work with many of our customers who have SaaS applications and increasingly also AI capabilities that they monetize through Revenera. And then we also work with you and help you enforce compliance, because we also talked about cost pressures in the beginning. One is to monetize more with your existing customers. The other option is to look at, wait a second, who's using my software and have they paid sufficiently, or is there potentially a compliance issue that I can go after to make sure that I drive more revenues? That too is for many companies a healthy and good revenue streams that helps with the overall business. So that is what we do. That is what we continue to focus on. You will hear a lot from us today in terms of where we are going and today and over the next few days. And our strategy is really clear in terms of leading in entitlements and licensing, growing more and more in SaaS and AI monetization and with device companies that grow. And then also to provide you with modern and easy to use solutions that make it easy for you to deal with software monetization, right? You want to focus, and there's a lot of pressure for you to innovate new solutions, to go to market, to do whatever your company is doing. We focus on making sure that software monetization is not a headache for you. You know, you have many others. That doesn't need to be a headache. We can take care of it. And we also give you the amount of data, the amount of insights, the amount of AI insight and help that you need for your monetization strategy. And what we do and how we also differentiate, and what I'm very proud of as a general manager, is that we focus on customer value, and we talk to you and we work with you on making sure that we understand your use cases, we understand your pains, and we work with you through this and make sure that we are the best possible solution that you can use to monetize your software. That in the end is what we are here for. And for that reason, I'm super excited about SoftSummit, because it means talking about software monetization for 3 full days. And with that, I welcome Michael back on stage. I apologize to Tiffany for stealing 2 minutes. And I wish you all a wonderful 3 days here with SoftSummit. Thanks a lot again for joining us here today.